And then we have an hour lunch. And then when we get back, things start really rock and rolling. And we begin taking a look at an example of how a team used data decision rules for intervention. And this is a series of videos that were produced, directed, and starred in by Susan Laney. And you have a video listening guide. Again, you can provide this as a hard copy, or you can ask folks to click on the link and pull it up and type in their notes. But it's a mechanism for folks to think very carefully about each of these videos that go through the steps of 1 through 7, basically. And after each video clip, and I don't think any of them goes much past 2 minutes, there's going to be a conversation starter that we're going to want our folks to have based on what they heard. Okay. And so, Susan, if you want to sort of weigh in on the making of these major motion pictures, please feel free to do that.
I feel like you produced them.
Well, you starred in them and you created. You were the writer.
I mean, I don't have a lot to say other than I just was trying to think through what would be the motions that a school team or district folks would go through, and I just tried to duplicate those steps with some of the tools that we have had folks use in the past, and just try to be real explicit with how to use the tools, or they may have a different tool, but to kind of get to this part of the matter of how do I find a group of kids who require intervention, and how do I make tough decisions when I've got a lot of kids that need intervention. How's that?
I think it's perfect. And so while this portion, I think, will be, not very complicated for you as a facilitator, I think as a way to prep for this portion, it's going to be important that you listen to each video and consider the information contained in each of these clips, and really think through the conversations or the discussion points that we have beside each one, because I think some of the ideas can be thought of as somewhat provocative, just because this is messy work and tough decisions need to be made. And so I think I would want to make sure that I listen very carefully to these and think through some of the conversations that you can pretty accurately predict will be taking place. But they'll have their listening guide that they can jot notes down on, and then they have the discussion starters here. Now, in terms of how you want to structure these conversations, right now we really have basically a consider and discuss format. I'm going to provide you with some options if you want to structure these conversations more specifically, so that you have people talking to other people, or reporting out in different ways. I mean, certainly there's a variety of protocol you could use if you want to, or if you just want to keep it just like this, I think that's more than fine too. But so you have this example of how a school used data decision rules, which I think is going to be very exciting for folks. I think they've been asking for more specific examples. And then after this particular section, after you have the example of a team using these, and you've had those discussions around each viewing of the videos, then you're going to again show them how to navigate to that third page for constructing data decision rules. And this is where we get a little bit more specific, and where they actually were able to grab the number of kids that they knew they could provide, pull out specific intervention to, in terms of what that looks like in the notes. Let me change that. That's going to be from your 2 to 245 section. And again, it's going to be the same process. You'll share the video. You have some opportunities for conversation things to say. And then they'll have their discussion points. And so it's the same pattern. Again, as far as a facilitator, pretty easy. We're going to ask them to take a look at the basic steps that were used to, that this team used to get to that rule for intervention entry, and these videos mimic those steps and follow those a little bit more specifically. So you have all of that reference there. There's no big surprises, and there's really no room for sort of ambiguity. This is pretty specific in terms of this section. And so after you've gone through that next series of videos that really show specifically how these decision rules were made for intervention entry, if you have time, folks have the opportunity to either use the demo data that they saw on those videos and do that particular activity themselves using the universal screening results and the NZ results that were referenced in the first series of videos, and then even using the resource planning tool that was used in this video. Or if they want to practice on their own, Susan also provided practice data that would allow them just to come up with this on their own. So if there's opportunity to practice the application of these data decisions and rules for intervention entry, you have two choices for practice time there. And again, I'm going to turn it over to you, Susan, in case you have something else you'd want to add.
Nothing big that I want to add. I do think it would be really helpful to, as a facilitator, watch each video and use the demo data to try and mimic the steps, because I think that the act of doing that really solidifies the skill set that we're trying to get our teams to be comfortable with.
Right.
So that'd be probably a good prep task for facilitators of the day.
Right. Okay, well, that's our walkthrough of the data evaluation planning within an intervention system day for the regional networking meeting. Again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. We know that you will enjoy every success there has ever been had during this day, and we appreciate you doing it. Susan, any other goodbyes? Any other send-offs you can think of?
Have fun.
Have fun, guys.
We hope it's good.
It's going to be great. Thanks. Peace out.